Welcome back to another episode of OWWR Spotlight, Panthers on the Prowl, here on OWWR Old Westbury Web Radio. Focused on the student athletes of Old Westbury, this show aims to educate those that may be unaware of what it takes to perform in sports while being a student. Being a student athlete comes with a lot of work in and out of games that many won't understand. I'm Muhamed Doucoure alongside Joshua Wilson, and today we are here with Shane Kielb and Stephen Gilmartin, two student athletes here on the Panthers men's volleyball team. Thank you for joining us today. Shane, you're a sophomore here at Old Westbury, originating from Wappingers Falls. That's a little trip from here upstate, right? What was life like there?
So it's a small town up there. Not that big. I mean, the school district I was in was big. There's 2 high schools, like 8 elementaries. But volleyball wasn't even a part of that until my junior year. It wasn't until my junior year that the school added a boys volleyball team. So I was part of the first varsity group for that team. I was the first recruit from the high school to play volleyball at college. So it's definitely a lot different coming to Long Island. But I love it here. Like, I wouldn't have wanted to go anywhere else.
And were you like a natural talent when it came to volleyball?
Definitely not. I was definitely raw going into my first year. Even after my first year, I probably, if it wasn't for my coach Brian Stacy, my senior year, I don't think I would have ever been able to get the talent to play for college. He was the one who really got me to that next level.
And I wanted to ask you, so what was that adjustment like going from high school level volleyball to like collegiate level volleyball?
It was definitely different than what I thought it was. It didn't feel different until the game started. High school, you have 25 minutes before the game starts. In college, you have a whole hour. You have a half an hour basically of shared court, and then it goes into 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Each team has the whole court. High school, you have 5 minutes to share time, and then it goes 5 and 5. So you really don't have much time before the game in high school. So I always thought that hour was going to be way longer, but that transition, I loved the transition, having that much time before the game. That's a big difference I saw.
Do you think that, that extra hour of preparation, that really matters? You think that really helps your game get better, or at least help you prepare for that game?
Mentally, for sure. Volleyball is a very mental game. Having that hour to prepare instead of 25 minutes is huge for me to shake off any nerves I have in that warm-up, because you can afford to make a mistake in the warm-up, but not in the game.
Yeah, we also have Stephen Gilmartin here. He's a junior here at Old Westbury, and you're from Massapequa, right?
Yes.
And what was that like growing up? I mean, that's probably pretty much the same as here.
Yeah. Massapequa, it's awesome. It's a big school district, it's a big town. Got a lot of like restaurants, a lot of nightlife kind of in a way. We had like 6 elementary schools. The high school, it was grades 10 through 12 because and it was so big that we had 1 year of 9th grade in one school district.
Wow. And Shane, you played right side hitter and middle blocker position for the team. Could you tell us a little about those positions?
So playing middle is one of the most heavy positions in volleyball. You have to make sure you do a lot and you don't get a lot of
recognition.
Yeah, recognition. So because in middle, you have to make sure you're not only following the setter, making sure, because you have to be up on the blocks, blocking their right side, blocking their middle, blocking their outside hitter. And you have to make sure you're up with your outside or right side hitter for those blocks. And it's, you have to pay attention. The middle is almost like you're the quarterback of that front row, defense and offense. So on offensive side of the ball as a middle, you have to make sure you're pulling the block if you're not getting set the ball, making sure that all your hitters have a chance for a better attack with a pulled block. As for right side, it's a switch from middle. Like, this is my first year being able to play all 6 rotations as a right side, so learning how to pass, making sure I'm making the diving plays is a lot different than just playing on a net defense. So it's a transition, but I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of work to just switch position mid-season, I would say. And do you prefer a position?
I do prefer playing right side. However, my mindset going into a game, going into a college sport, is I'm wherever the coach needs me. I'll play wherever Coach Pastuch wants me there.
Mm-hmm. And Steven, you're a defensive specialist. What responsibilities does that position entail?
Playing all positions in the back row, keeping the ball off the ground, communicating, definitely is a big key back there. Just keeping the ball off the ground is major.
And have you both always played those positions, or have you always excelled like you guys are doing now at those positions?
I've always played like back row because I'm not very tall, so I've always excelled at playing back row defense.
I've always played middle throughout high school. It wasn't until college I was able to step into that right side role.
It seems like you guys are like very crucial parts to the team, like to the team's wherever the direction of the team is going. So do you guys feel that weight like on your shoulders a little when it's like, let's say like you have like a mishap, you have like a mess up, and you kind of feel that like, oh, I gotta make up for that, I gotta get better. Like, do you feel that at all during the game or even after the game?
Always. On the court, on the bench, and the timeout, it's always the weight on your shoulders. Speaking from the middle again, you're only in the game for 3 rotations, so you have to make those rotations count. So that is a heavy weight on the shoulders as well, because when you're off the court, you can't do anything but cheer. So
definitely, even in the back row, like not letting a ball drop is not good because the other team scores the point. So.
I mean, yeah. And Shane, you talked about you played volleyball before Old Westbury, but Steven, have you played volleyball before Old Westbury?
Yes, I was a transfer from Nassau this year, and I played 2 years at Nassau.
And have any of you guys played any other sports?
I played like in high school, like baseball, and I was on the bowling team.
I played baseball almost all my life until I got to middle school.
Mm-hmm. And you guys were never like forced into the basketball team? I know, Shane, you're like 6'6".
I was never forced into basketball. Every day I get the question, do you play a sport? Do you play basketball? No, I play volleyball.
It's funny because volleyball is one of those sports that tall people play. Like, you play the right position for, a person in volleyball. I've seen you play. You have a lot of spikes. You have a lot of, you have a lot of blocks. I definitely think that you're in the right position. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just diving into you guys like early life, what started your passion for volleyball?
My older sisters played volleyball throughout high school, and I always loved it. And they're the reason why I started playing. Them and my social studies teacher sophomore year, Mr. Pampalone, he told me that they were starting a team because I always told him how my sisters played, and I liked hanging around them, playing that. So when he told me that, I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. What do I have to lose? I figured new team, I'll make it anyway. So I gave it a shot, and best decision I think I've made in high school.
And would you say you have like an athlete's family, like a real competitive family?
Both my sisters were 2-sport athletes, playing volleyball and softball. My dad played every sport under the sun in his Catholic school growing up, so I'd say so.
It's crazy you asked that question. I was gonna ask Steven, like, and where you're from in Massapequa, like, is there like a really big like sports culture?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Do you get that?
Mm-hmm, yeah, definitely. The Massapequa is a very hard school to make like the high school teams with. So I actually never made the volleyball team in high school.
It's very competitive.
Yeah, very.
I get that.
And would you guys say you guys had like really big influences as a child? It doesn't even have to be like family or anything. Maybe just like professional athletes.
Well, my cousin Jack played volleyball, and that's where I kind of got my influence from. He was from Massapequa too, and then he went to St. Joe's LI.
Shane, what about you?
Outside of family, I'd say my idols. It's funny because a lot of my idols aren't volleyball players.
Yeah.
They're type 1 diabetics who play pro sports like Mark Andrews, Capo Caco in the NHL, Mason Miller of MLB. Those are the people I look up to because being type 1 diabetic is definitely a challenge being in sports, but seeing them play at that high of a level and also dealing with ideal, it's inspiring.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely inspiring even to me. But what type of challenges would you say you faced just in your sports career dealing with type 1 diabetes?
Keeping an eye on my blood sugar, mainly keeping an eye on making sure I'm okay to play. And if I'm not okay to play, knowing how I feel to stop and make sure that I get my blood sugar raised to the level that I can play at and, not be dangerous. Definitely a challenge, but, just this last Monday, I celebrated 14 years since my diagnosis, so...
Congrats.
Thank you. So I've always, in a sense, had it and played sports through it, but it's always, every day is a new challenge.
And I mean, I noticed last season you played, I think, the fourth most sets on your team. You played 77 sets, so I think that speaks to your courage and bravery, just being able to play as much as you did. And, I mean, you guys did talk about the sports you played as a kid. You guys played multiple sports. Did any of those sports bring anything to volleyball?
Like any traits, like if you played baseball, did that help with like your accuracy, stuff like that, or like your timing?
Baseball-wise, the motion of throwing a baseball, like pitching, because I pitched, is almost the same as a volleyball spike. The way I was taught was to do a baseball throw and extend their arm up instead of out throwing to learn how to actually spike on the ball.
And what about you, Steven?
Definitely like in basketball, always like hustling. Kind of brought that over to volleyball.
Definitely a lot of lateral movement, vertical movement, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to go back to Shane because that was news to me. I didn't even know you had type 1 diabetes. So I wanted to ask, are you comfortable educating the listeners on what that's like, or like just your diagnosis and stuff like that? Or like you mentioned before, keeping your blood sugar low, stuff like that?
Yeah. So I was diagnosed at 6.5. So I was in kindergarten at the time, and it wasn't as common as it is today. Like I was the only type 1 diabetic in my school system until I was in 5th grade, maybe. Living through it, going to school was the toughest thing. My mom was a huge advocate for my medical stuff, whether it being a 504 plan in place, so I had, in a sense, like the right to use all my medical equipment wherever I needed to, or being able to go to the nurse if I needed to. It's hard to say what difference is it, because I've always had it through school. Like I always felt like I've had it all my life, being diagnosed so young. But I don't let it affect me how it used to let it affect me. I use it more as a fuel to the fire than trying to hide it and ignore it.
And hey, like Muhamed said, it's very inspiring. And we want to continue this conversation. We'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned on OWWR Old Westbury Web Radio with Panthers on the Prowl, OWWR Spotlight. Welcome back with another episode of OWWR Old Westbury Web Radio, OWWR Spotlight, Panthers on the Prowl. We're here with Shane Kielb and Stephen Gilmartin, 2 volleyball athletes. Now, we got into a few conversations in that first little segment, and so we want to continue these conversations. So I'll start with Shane. What are practices like? Like if coaches, or like, is coach getting on you guys really hard? Is it a lot of yelling, screaming? Let us know. Is it calm? Is it, are they really pushing you guys to the max, or is it a little easy going every now and then?
I would definitely say they do push us to the max every time. They try to push us to our limit. As for everything else, it's really whatever in the moment feels right. Like, coaches this year have done an amazing job at giving us new drills to do, being lenient when they need to, but being hard when they need to as well. This past Saturday, we had some issues being on time, being late, and coach put his foot down, and that's exactly what you need to do. I think they've done amazing jobs this year, making sure people are doing what they need to, fixing if they aren't, and we still have stuff to work out, but coaches they definitely do what is needed when it's needed.
Okay, and what about you, Stephen? How do you feel?
Practices are good. They're definitely lenient when they need to be, but they're doing it for the best of us. They push us every day. They expect a lot from us, so we just need to just do our hardest to just be better.
Yeah, would you say like the coaches, the roster, like is the mindset going into games just to like score as many points as possible, or is it try to stop the other team from scoring as many points as possible?
We have a defense first mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Because in volleyball, you start the point off a serve. So if you have the serve, you need to play defense first before you get the ball back, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a huge defense first mentality of either stopping them from getting the ball over or making sure we're going hard, getting all the balls before they drop on our side and putting it back in their face, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, no, just looking at the roster, I was seeing you guys only have one senior on the team, Ashel Santos. How has he been as a role model and just getting you guys both acclimated to the team?
Asher's done a good job. I mean, he's team captain of soccer, team captain of volleyball. He definitely knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
He is a great person to have in the circle to hype us up, tell us, lock in. He's great with the speeches he gives us. And even this year, he's been very versatile playing. He started setting. Now he's playing outside. He's wherever coach needs him. He's been a great role model on how to be a collegiate athlete. He's probably the best person on this team to look at on what takes to be a collegiate athlete.
Yeah, and your team is full of freshmen and sophomores. Does that like force you guys into like leadership roles as well?
I would say yeah, definitely. Trying to teach the younger guys to set a role on this Old Westbury team and set a standard for future players.
Yeah, I mean, can they be like a little immature sometimes? You just got to reel them in.
I think during practice we have our moments, but it's if you can like in the right moment. When we need to be serious, we're serious. If they're acting immature, it's usually after practice.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all in good fun when that happens. It's never in a bad moment that happens.
Yeah, and you talked a lot about your defensive first mentality. Would you say that that's the Panthers' like identity?
I'd say so.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, definitely.
And like, are the Panthers one of those quiet teams, or are they like screaming everything? Like, I know the girls' team, when we watched a few of their games, they were like screaming every single play.
We are definitely trying to get to that point. It's been tough here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Start of the season was weird. A lot of games got canceled, got pushed. So we're still trying to find our rhythm in the cheering and loudness. But I can confidently say come Saturday, our first conference game against Sarah Lawrence, that we will be louder than them. Our fans will be louder. We will be that loudest team there.
So you guys still working on that chemistry?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Every day.
Speaking of the chemistry, I wanted to get into that. How does the team bond outside of practice? Like, what are some things that you guys do? You guys go hang out, or like, just simple things like that? Like, I seen you in the campus or in the campus center sometimes. What are you guys up to outside of practice?
A lot of us hang out at the game room in the student union. If we're not there, we're already in the gym, in the locker room, hanging out, talking. More than half the team usually is always at the gym, maybe an hour and a half before we actually have to be there to hang out, get ready, talk. We're pretty active in our group chat as well, So
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and you talked a lot about the gym. Just like, how do you guys balance academics and doing all that work that needs to be done to just stay at the top of your game?
Definitely taking time out of your day, before practice or after practice to just reset your mind, get some work done, and then when practice starts, lock in, ready to go.
I like that. I like how that sounds. Reset your mind, like just decompress of all anything that stresses you outside of the sport. It doesn't matter. This is your sanctuary. I like that.
Shane?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Or just like, how do you guys balance that academic life with your sports?
Okay. I have online classes. Most of my classes are online, so I'm able to set more of a schedule. I do homework in the morning. I go lunch. Do a little more homework while eating, and then come 2-3 o'clock, I'm at the gym until practice is done, and then dinner. I do all my fun stuff at night. Making sure everything's on the deadline. I have Google Keep, which is like Post-it notes with all the due dates. So as long as I'm doing it by the due dates, I know how to give myself time.
And have you guys ever had like that bad week where you're just like behind and you don't know what to do?
Yeah, that definitely happens. But I have the luxury of being able to reach out to a lot of my teammates to help me through it. Teammates are always there for me and for Steven, for all of us.
And has the team faced any injuries this year?
During tryouts, we had someone trying out who broke his kneecap, so he couldn't finish the tryout. We had one kid had a concussion, but other than that, it's been pretty, knock on wood, it's been clean.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you guys are only really 4 games into the season, so. Yeah. But I saw you guys started off 3-1. I think that's one of the best starts you guys have ever had. So, what are your thoughts on this season so far?
This is the best start in team history. It's only our 3rd year being an NCAA team.
Yeah.
My 2nd year on the team. So I remember last year our first win last year was our first ever non-conference game win against York. This year we've gone 3-1, lost to CCNY unfortunately, but bounce back from that. Come in Sarah Lawrence, make it 4-1. Come back next week, 5-1, 6-1. Go. We're going for the skyline this year.
I mean, I saw all your wins are 3-0s, so I think you guys have been really good on that end. But how did you guys bounce back from that loss to CCNY?
CCNY was a tough loss. A lot of emotions after the game. Coming back into practice, our next game was Medgar Evers, which was fortunate enough. I don't want to bash any team, but
we were there.
Yeah, Medgar Evers. It was a light game to come back in to use it as momentum for Pratt, where Pratt is a good team. I won't lie, Pratt is a good team. So beating them 3-0 isn't nothing to scoff at. It's all a matter of lock in. We locked in for that game and it showed.
Yep. And you say your expectations are Skyline Conference. So who would you say was your strongest opponent last season?
St. Joseph's Long Island is the team in the Skyline for men's volleyball. Last year we had extra teams, Ramapo College and New Jersey City, who are not in the Skyline men's volleyball conference anymore. New Jersey City joined the CUNYAC this year. Ramapo, I think, is an independent. So this year it's really just SJLI again. But Manhattanville and Purchase are always up there with SJLI. So those 3 teams are definitely the teams to beat this year.
And you think the Panthers have a really good chance of just beating those teams? Potentially.
100%. We can beat anyone. The coach uses this example at practice every time. It doesn't matter if you're Penn State men's volleyball or a group of 2nd graders. The group of 2nd graders on any given day could beat Penn State. So it doesn't matter who we're going against, but always have a chance to win.
All right, thank you for that, Shane. And that will do it for that segment of OWWR Spotlight, Panthers on the Prowl. Stay tuned for the second half of Panthers on the Prowl here with Shane Kielb and Stephen Gilmartin. Stay tuned. Welcome to the second half of OWWR Spotlight, Panthers on the Prowl. You can follow us here on OWWR NY on Instagram, X, and Snapchat and Facebook at OWWR. Now, Shane Kielb and Stephen Gilmartin, I wanted to ask, how strict is your coach? Like, is he on you guys 24/7? Like, I know it's kind of similar to the question before, like the practice question, but just in general, during the games, outside of the games, how would you feel about the leadership of your coach?
Coach is definitely doing a good job in the leadership department this year. He definitely leaves it up to the captains, however, to get the team together. It's not until either me or Ash will go up to him or send him a text, because we try and fix it first. Coach doesn't want to see him in a sense of having to be like an overseer of everything,
like micromanaging the team.
Right. So it's better. We decided it would be better to start with the captains, see if they can fix any sort of problem, so it doesn't have to be settled by coach.
Right.
If it does, there's obvious consequences. It's all fair, though. I think it's all fair.
How you feel, Stephen?
Definitely lenient in a way. Expect us to, be responsible in our own ways. Obviously, if we need something, reach out to the captains or coach. He doesn't mind that.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Sounds great. That sounds great that you could really come to coach for pretty much anything. If you think that if you're uncomfortable with a certain position that you're playing, you think you would be able to come up to him and be like, hey, I think I'll be able to produce better in this role. You think that they'll adjust to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
He encouraged us to talk to him like that.
Sounds great. Muhamed, you had any thoughts, any questions?
We already talked about you guys' record last season, I think you guys were 6-18 last season.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you guys think you struggled in that year that you guys improved on coming into this year?
So last season, I think it's more of just being a new program from last season. Mm-hmm. Last season, we had a lot of firsts. We had our first non-conference win. We had our first win streak. We had the best record in program history. And 6 wins as a best record is, not the best. Mm-hmm. However, we're new. That was our second year in the NCAA, and we already more than doubled the win total from the previous season.
Yep.
And I think it's just ironing out, now the fact that we have more recruits, we have more people trying out instead of, just having people come in so we have people. Mm-hmm. We're really in a position building a real team.
Yeah, and I was at that Medgar Evers game, and I realized that they do have players, but I feel like those players, they don't really have volleyball expertise. They didn't have the fundamentals down in packed. But I think the Panthers, this being only their 4th year, I think a lot of their players are skillful. They know their roles and stuff of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ash is the only person that's been on the team for all 4 years of its being a program, mm-hmm. This being the 3rd year NCAA eligible. So he's seen a lot of talent come and go, a lot of people come and go. So it definitely started out like Medgar Evers, but it's taken less than 4 years to turn it all around, build the program from scratch.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say that the team improved on when it comes to physical, maybe taller players or maybe more skillful players?
We definitely got a lot of talent in. We got a lot of good volleyball players. We have Luke Vitak and Jason Giles, our 2 freshman middle blockers, who have been outstanding in the middle. We have Steven here, who's transferred from Nassau. Nassau's a good team. Nassau's a great team. So getting Steven coming in here is also great. Having good talent from good team is always great to bring in to educate us on stuff they might have done, stuff we could do better that they do. So it's really good having all this new talent coming in to have, all of our experiences to do better.
Yeah, and just being a new team, you also have to build like that crowd connection. Just how do you feel that the crowd has been this season for the Panthers?
Definitely bigger than last year. I gotta say, it's a lot bigger. It's a lot of our friend groups that come, which nothing wrong with that, but they are the ones that are bringing in more of the outside people that we don't know. I will say a lot of the conference games, we do have good crowds. We do have a lot of good cheers. We have a lot of good people in those stands. It makes it easy for us to play those home games when we have those people in the stands rooting for us.
Yeah, and Steven, do you ever feel like hyped up when you have the crowd cheering for you guys?
Oh, definitely. Having the crowd on our back is the biggest thing. That's home court advantage.
And like just the opposite, when you're on the road, do you ever feel like a little down when you got that opposite crowd just booing you guys, just cheering for the team other than you guys?
No, not really. We just have to, lock them out of our brains and just focus on our game and cheer on our own team.
Yeah,
I was gonna say that should like amp you up more. You know what I'm saying? That you could disappoint the other crowd with your game. But how we could go back to like just your past experiences playing volleyball on the road. Have you ever had any difficulty with like a heckler or somebody, a fan shouting something from the stands, somebody's mom or something? You know what I mean?
Last year, playing St. Joe's Brooklyn both times. At home, we played them first at home. We took them. We lost in 5 sets with them, which it was sucked. But I think it was still a good game. It was a good loss, if that makes sense. But there was a heckler in the stands. He was loud the whole time, obnoxious, loud, and he was here at home. So we knew that he was going to be there when we went to them a week or two later. And by the second set, he sat down and stopped talking. we won that game in 4.
Nice.
And, we used him as fuel for the next game.
What about you, Steven? You ever had an experience like that with a heckler?
No, not really.
Not really?
No.
You just blocked them out?
No, yeah.
That's what's up. I like that.
Yeah, and just going into that preparation that you need to like just be a collegiate athlete, are there any like measures you guys take to stay in shape? Lift weight, cardio, plyometrics, stuff like that?
Yeah. I usually in the mornings I like to stretch out my body just for the day, be as active as I can. Definitely I have a treadmill at home. I use that just to stay, up with my body. And definitely with the right diet, eating.
I was going to ask about that. Like, how is the diet when it comes to staying in shape? Because I know obviously you guys are in the gym, but outside of that, when you go home and, sometimes, you see, something sweet, something, something savory, but you gotta pause on that. You have to have the right intake. Does that ever happen to you guys at any point?
It definitely happens to me a lot. But, during the season, I try my best to stick to the healthy stuff. I get my wrap from the market here at school. In the morning, I have Greek yogurt, and it's definitely harder with the diabetes. I really am always watching what I eat and whatnot. But also, with my height and my weight, it's easy to eat a lot and need to eat that much without remembering I do need to eat that much.
What about you, Steven? What's your diet like? What does your diet consist of, like in the morning or in the afternoon, pre-game?
In the morning, I like to just try to have something light, nothing crazy heavy, like a yogurt, like granola or something. Lunch, I like to just have like a sandwich. I don't usually eat like a lot of carbs. Right. Try to like lower that intake, definitely. But usually in between meals, I like to have like fruit, vegetables.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah, and I mean, I looked at a lot of your last season stats, Shane, and I was just noticing you had 11 solo blocks, which you led your team in. You had 32 block assists, which you were second on the team, and you had 43 blocks on the season, which is second on the team, and then 80 points to add to that. So just how do you feel about those numbers, and do you think you might be able to surpass those?
It's funny that you asked that. Last night I was doing my calendar, and on my calendar I was putting my stats from last season and then putting my goals to beat for this season. So my goal is to beat that 43 blocks, get 45. And to go on with that, me and my teammate Danny from last season, the both of us were the two leaders on the team for blocks, and we were top 10 in the skyline for that. I was 10th, he was 8th. So I'm definitely looking to be back there, but I'm also looking to beat my other stats. I have it all written down. I did that all last night. So it's funny that you asked that, because I was just looking at that.
So you have a kill list a little, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Steven, I know you talked previously about coming from Nassau, so what were your stats like last year, and do you plan to surpass those as well?
I didn't able to get to play last year just because of some circumstances.
Yep.
But definitely coming in this year, I definitely have some goals of mine just, to beat.
And do you guys feel like you guys improved from last season? I know, Shane, you had a really good season as a freshman, so what do you think you improved on this season?
Being coachable, really. I looked at it in a way where I want this to be what I look back on when 20 years from now and say this was the best parts of my life, and that I did it to the fullest. So coming off of last season, I know there's a lot of aspects that I can do better, and it's just following that to do better in those. Just being part of the team and trying to do my best to do everything that I can.
Yeah, just talking about being coachable, would you say like last season you were more of a hothead and just you let the intensity of the game get to you?
Towards the later end of the season, I think there was some moments where I definitely felt like that, and I definitely don't want that to happen again this year. And it goes to show already that it's been working, being able to play right side, being able to play the back row against Pratt. That was my favorite part about that Pratt game, that I played the back row in the first set, and I got a good amount of digs, that I got a good amount of ups. So it's really being able to see what I can do after opening up is great.
And Steven, you said that you weren't really able to play last year due to other circumstances. That must feel relieving that you get to participate this year. You get to actually get involved this year. You get to actually chip in.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was the student manager of Nassau last year, and we went to the championship game, and we lost, and so that definitely fuels me every day when I come into practice, wanting to just win with my new team.
It's great.
And I'm just wondering, what did you see in the Panthers that made you want to be I want to be on that team?
Well, coming here, definitely the price of the school.
Definitely.
And they had so much potential, I saw when I looked at last year's games.
Yep.
All right. Well, stay tuned for the final segment of Panthers on the Prowl, OWWR Spotlight. You can follow us on Instagram at OWWRNY and on X. You can follow us on Facebook, OWWR, and visit us online at OWWRNY.org. Welcome back to OWWR Spotlight, Panthers on the Prowl. Here with two men's volleyball athletes, Shane Kielb and Steven Gilmartin. Sorry. Now, we pretty much emptied the clip with these questions. So, I just wanted to ask, how has been your time here at Old Westbury? I know Steven has been very short, but you can start first. Just being a newer student here, what is it like adjusting to the courses, getting around campus, and getting on campus, getting back, stuff like that?
I'm all online.
Okay, it's even easier.
Oh yeah.
Life is easier.
But even today, like I asked Shane, like, oh, where are we doing this? But it's good. Getting to practice is easy. Commuting's good.
And Shane, how do you feel about this being your sophomore year, right?
Yeah, so I mean, I love it here. I'm applying to be an orientation leader for the summer as well, so I'm planning to spend my summer here as well. But yeah, I mean, there's problems here and there with the campus sometimes. But
we just had that outage.
Yeah, we just had the outage from the snowstorm.
Yeah.
I had no heat for a few hours, but all in all, I love this place. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, to be honest.
And was there like a specific moment, I would say, for both of you guys, just like where you felt like you were truly a part of this team and even this school?
I would say last year, after our win at York, or home against York, that's what really sold me on being a Panther for life. It was that moment of winning with the team. It was the moment of going to celebrate with my friends after in the student union. Funny enough, there was USA hockey game last night. That was also really awesome. But yeah, it was moments like those that solidified my love for the school, really, and a lot of the people here. One of the RAs last year, Christian Morgan, he is the reason why I'm so out in the open doing the radio show. I would have never thought I would do this if he didn't open me up to everyone else, meeting everyone else, going around talking to all these professors and people who do all this stuff. So it's yeah. Yeah,
me and Shane, we've known each other just through being around on campus in the cafe. Just talking basketball. Speaking of basketball, how do you feel about your Hornets, man? How do you feel about your team right now?
Hornets are doing awesome. I'm going to be a little delusional. I'm going to say we're a playoff team, not a play-in team. We're a playoff team. But no, the Hornets are doing really well. I love watching LaMelo. I love watching the new guys. Con Kneppel is great. Diabate's finally found his role. Our new starting five is solid. They're 16-2. The stat was. It was Diabate, Miller, Bridges, Ball, and Kneppel.
Oh, that's great. And Steven, is there any sports teams, any players that you follow in sports?
Yeah, the New York Mets. I'm also a Jet fan. I love Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, all those players. Even other teams' players I like to follow, not just the Mets. Like I also like Ronald Acuna Jr., Bobby Witt Jr. So
it's great.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed like volleyball players, they just don't watch volleyball at all. They watch every other sport but volleyball. I mean, would you guys say the same?
I do watch some volleyball. I love watching the national stuff. There's the VNL, the Volleyball National League. So I like watching Japan. I love watching USA. Bulgaria's up and on the rise because of Moni Nikolov. He's a great player. But yeah, no, I watch USA. I watch Japan. USA has a Taylor Averill on the team. He's a middle blocker. He is my inspiration of being the best middle. That's who I look up to in volleyball terms.
Is he like similar frame, tall guy, 6'6"?
Yeah, he's way taller than me. Like national middles are most likely 6'10", like around there. I'm considered short for my position, which is crazy to say.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, he's definitely like the same build as me. Other than that,
does he have like crazy athletics? Jumps out the gym?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like volleyball players, they might be second when it comes to basketball, when it comes to like verticals. I mean, they might be first, to be honest. They just jump out the gym.
You definitely see that. That's common or I've seen that where some players who actually play volleyball or they used to play volleyball, they could get into basketball. You know who else was like that? Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain used to play volleyball. He's a volleyball legend.
Yeah.
And he's also a legend in basketball, too. But, hey, it's definitely cool to see that, you can use your athleticism and, like, just different traits of your body in different ways and different areas. It's definitely cool to see.
Yeah.
especially on the court. You know, they send you out there to spike the ball. Sometimes you have to get on defense and relocate. Though it's definitely, I can see how it's complex and it's tough. So I respect it as a non-athlete. Yeah.
I mean, the Panthers, they are a really decently new team. So, like, what are your expectations if your team actually makes it to the playoffs? Like, a lot of these people might not have been in high-pressure situations like playoffs.
My way of thinking of playoffs is you play the season, you play for a seed. Once you're in the playoffs, you take it one game at a time. Because all it takes, it's one game elimination. So all it takes is one game.
Just another game.
Exactly. You could have lost twice to the team you're playing in playoffs, but come playoff time, you know, you want that more than the other team. So, I mean, you can see that in the CUNYAC standings in basketball, that 6 seed CCNY basketball team has been constantly winning upset games. So it shows, as soon as it doesn't matter what seed you are, as long as you're in the playoffs, you have that chance.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I know in volleyball they make it like a big deal to like track errors and stuff like that. Just like, how do you guys adjust when your team is making mistakes and making errors?
Just try and mentally reset.
No, you bring it in after every point. Just, you know, hold each other accountable. Be like, hey, my bad. I got the next one.
Yeah, it's usually always what we do. If you notice when we play, after every point, win or lose, we go in circle. We do 1-2, 1-2, and clap. That's our way of resetting after the point to make sure, try not to make the same mistake again. In volleyball, you can't harp on the last point because there's always the next one. Doesn't matter if you're down 24-2, you still have a chance of winning that set. So you have to focus on that next point no matter what.
I was just checking you guys' schedule. So it seems like you guys have a decent home stretch for the beginning of March, but then you have a nice 4-game kind of road trip almost where you're going out, you're going to Purchase, you're going to Bronxville, you're going to Brooklyn. So what do you think that would be like, having to travel and having to constantly go to these road games, road areas? I know we kind of spoke on dealing with hecklers before. I'm not saying you have to anticipate it, but what do you think that'll be like, having to travel back and forth?
So last year, a lot of our games were away, so I'm more used to that. It's just going into it, you got to anticipate everything. So like being late, having the other team not be ready for you, or not knowing where the locker room is, or if they're going to have you go to the locker room. Every school is different. But it's just to make, like, on those away stretches, it's more making sure that you get your rest that you need, because it is a lot of traveling. I'm used to it because I travel back and forth from home a lot. I live 2 hours upstate. So it's nice. I like playing away at some schools because they're closer to family, like Mount St. Vincent. I'm really excited for that Mount St. Vincent game because my godmother's there. And last year, my grandmother was able to make it before she had passed. So
sorry to hear that.
Like this next game, it's really dedicated to her. But Purchase in Manhattanville, they're also, decently close to home, so my parents will also be there. So I always look forward to the away games because of the people that I know can't come to my school can go to there. So I always have a fan in the stand.
So it's funny. I do remember you said that you were, like, when it came to your diet, sometimes you would go to the market. What items do you think you would get from the market that you think are healthy and that you think that are reliable, keep you fueled up?
I always get a wrap. I get a chicken sandwich wrap with cheese. I get onions, peppers, jalapenos. That's my go-to every day.
Sounds great. And Steven, you said no carbs.
Mm-hmm.
So have you ever been out? Have you been hanging out with friends, with family? And, certain things seem tempting, but you're always thinking about those carbs. You're always thinking about it? Or is it just, it's natural at this point?
It's always still thinking about it. Definitely, like when we go out to dinner, it's always try to order something that isn't carb heavy.
That's cool. So I'm thinking, when you guys are on campus, do you guys plan on attending other teams' events, other teams' games, like the women's volleyball team or, the basketball team? Well, I think, are they still in the playoffs? I think they are, right?
Oh, you said women's basketball?
It could be men's basketball, whichever. Any sport, any team. Do you plan on going to their games and kind of cheering them on, or do you just focus on your team and cheering on your guys?
It's easy to cheer for our teams because most of the times, if they have a home game, we won't have practice. Like our practice is a different time, so it's really easy to get there. I do the game day staff, so I go to all the games anyway. I libero tracked for the women, so I was on the counter right up close to the action, which I loved. I love watching volleyball. But even when the spring comes, even if I'm not working games, I'll be at the baseball, softball, the new flag football team. I'll be at their games. I'm always there.
Sounds great. Is there any on-campus events that you think you guys would attend or go to? Would that, just for example, like the radio station in April is holding Vinyl-thon. Vinyl-thon is where you could come in as a student, you could bring in your own vinyl, vinyl records, and you can play for a live session for over, I believe, 48 hours or longer than that. I think the stretch is going to like 3 days this year.
Yeah, definitely. I think it might be 4.
3 to 4 days of just rotation of just vinyl records from students and from our station manager, Manfredi. But would you guys plan on going to like any event? It could be any event. I just gave an example, but like, would you do that?
For me, it would be like hard to do that just because I work during the day.
Right. It's funny. It is 24 hours, so you could pop in at 11 p.m. You could be like, hey, just knock on the door, just give it a little knock, a little tap. What about you, Shane?
I always try and go to as many events as possible, just because I live on campus, so it's way easier for me to go because I'm here anyway. Right. The one event I always look forward to is the game room event that the intramurals hosts with Scott Picard. That's always fun. Yeah, if there's an event going on and I'm free during that time, I'm most likely there. But like I understand, like people outside of school, like Steven has his job and he has to commute. Like it's hard for other people to get to the events.
And just like, what's something you'd want to tell people that they probably don't realize about volleyball and maybe just volleyball players?
It's definitely more of a mental game than like your skill.
Yeah, 100%. Our assistant coach, Noogs, he always tells us how volleyball is a mental game. He loves the mental side of the game. And I'd have to agree with him. It's as much as volleyball is a lot of physicality and whatnot, it is a lot of mentality, and if so, more mental than physical. Just because, you like retrack errors, like you said, making that error, that's you gave that the point to the other team, so it's hard to come back from that. So we have to be mentally strong to kind of forget that point, come back and get the next one.
Have that goldfish mindset.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just like, both of you guys' positions are just like more defensive based. I would say, like, have you guys ever wanted to be on that offensive side, just striking the ball down, getting those kills for your team?
Yes, definitely.
I get the best of both worlds with that. I get to do defense and I get to attack. Everyone I know who plays back row always wants to attack, and I love it. I love the fight.
And final question: do you guys have a hype song you guys have every game?
That's a great question. My song is almost always different every day.
Yeah, it really depends on the mood.
Yeah. I know recently I've been listening to Eternal Take Again by Lil Uzi. That's been my hype stuff.
I've been usually listening to like Kick Myself by Morgan Wallen.
It's funny. I did see you post Juice WRLD one time though, Shane.
Yes. Juice WRLD is my favorite artist. I even have the 9s tatted on my leg.
That's great. love Juice WRLD. I was a big fan since middle school, so I get it. But that should do it for this episode of OWWR Panthers on the Prowl. You can follow us on X and Instagram at OWWRNY. Visit us online at OWWRNY.org. Listen and be heard. We want to thank Shane Khabib and Stephen Gilmartin. We want to thank Muhamed Doucoure and myself, and last but not least, our state radio station manager, Joseph Manfredi, for allowing us to hold this broadcast. Thank you all for listening, and tune in next time at OWWR Spotlight, Panthers on the Prowl.